Nilkant called Nand one day and told him that he was planning to meet a few school principals to discuss a financial literacy program he wanted to introduce for students. He also mentioned that he had already spoken to his friend Sampat, a branch manager at a well-known bank, who had agreed to guide Nand in understanding the basics of banking and how banks work. Make sure you understand everything well, he said, and don't hesitate to ask questions. I'll meet you next month to see your progress. He then shared Sampat's phone number with him. Nand called Sampat and asked if he could visit the bank the next day. Sampat replied, "Come around 1 p.m. I'll be available then." The next day, Nand reached the bank exactly at 1 p.m. He informed the assistant at the front desk that he had come to meet Mr. Sampat. The assistant politely told him, "Sir is currently in a meeting with a high net worth individual, HNI. He will meet you shortly." After about half an hour, Sampat walked out of the conference room along with his client. To Nand's surprise, the client turned out to be his own uncle. His uncle looked at him surprised. "Nand, what are you doing here?" Nand explained that he had come to learn about banking for a financial literacy program he was working on. Hearing this, his uncle smiled and turned to Sampat. "Sampat, please make sure you guide him well. He's working for the future of the younger generation." With that, his uncle left for his next meeting. Sampat then walked up to Nand, greeted him warmly, and said, "Would you like some tea or coffee before we begin?" Nand smiled and replied, "No, thank you. I'm eager to learn. This is actually my first time visiting a bank. My father has always handled everything for me. I really want to understand how it all works." Sampat nodded, impressed by his curiosity. "Great," he said. "Let's start from the basics." Sampat looked at Nand and asked, "What do you want to know about a bank?" Nand replied nervously, "Everything." Sampat smiled and said, "All right, fair enough. In the simplest terms, a bank is a place where people deposit, save money, and others borrow money as loans. It acts as a bridge between people who have extra money and those who need money. That's the core job of a bank." Nand looked surprised. "That's it?" Sampat nodded. "Yes, that's the foundation." Nand leaned forward with curiosity. "I want to understand more. How does a bank actually work?" Sampat said, "Let me explain with a simple example. Take Nilkant. He deposits 10,000 rupees in a bank. The bank keeps his money safe. Whenever Nilkant needs it, he can take it back. On top of that, the bank also pays him some interest as a reward for keeping his money there." Nand interrupted, "But then how does the bank return 10,000 rupees along with interest?" Sampat smiled. "Good question." Sampat continued, "The bank uses a part of the money deposited by people like Nilkant and gives it as loans to others. These borrowers pay interest to the bank. And here's the key point. The bank charges a higher interest rate on loans than what it pays to depositors. The difference between the interest earned and the interest paid is the bank's profit." Nand nodded, finally connecting the dots. Sampat continued, "Banks also provide different types of loans based on people's needs. Education loan, study now, pay later. Home loan, buy a house early. Business loan, start or grow a business. Apart from loans, banks offer many services that make our daily life easier. For example, UPI apps like Google Pay and Phone Pay, debit and credit cards, and net banking, so you don't have to carry cash everywhere. They also provide locker facilities where you can safely store your valuables. For this, the bank charges a small rent, just like paying for a secure storage space. Banks also offer various products to help you save and grow your money, but we'll talk about those later when we discuss financial products in detail." Sampat paused and then concluded with a smile. "You can think of a bank as the financial engine of the economy, keeping money moving, helping people grow, and supporting the entire system." Just then, there was a knock on Sampat's office door. His assistant stepped in and said, Sir, you have a meeting with a client. Sampat nodded and turned to Nand. Looks like we'll have to pause here. Why don't you come tomorrow during lunch? We'll eat together and continue this discussion. Nand smiled and said, Sure, that sounds great. Thank you, sir. He stood up, said goodbye to Sampat, and walked out of the office, his mind now filled with curiosity about how banks really work. Sampat was having his lunch when Nand reached the branch. Nand was late due to traffic near the bank. Sampat offered him some food, but Nand politely refused, saying he had already eaten on his way. Sampat then asked Nand, Which bank do you have your salary account with? He was surprised to learn that Nand's salary account was in the same bank and even the same branch, yet he had never seen him there before. Nand smiled and replied, My father takes care of everything. I mostly use UPI and net banking for my payments. Curious, Sampat asked, What other banking services do you use apart from UPI and net banking? Nand admitted honestly, I don't really know much about the other services banks offer. Sampat nodded and said, Generally, banks offer different types of accounts based on your needs, whether it's saving, spending, business, or investments. Let me explain them to you. Savings account. This is the most common type of account for individuals, Sampat explained. It is ideal for students, salaried individuals, and the general public. There are different variants, but the core features remain the same. Earns interest, typically in the range of 2.5% to 7%, allows easy deposits and withdrawals, comes with ATM/debit cards, net banking, and UPI access, requires a minimum balance, which varies from bank to bank. Current account. These accounts are designed mainly for businesses and professionals, Sampat continued. They offer no limit on the number of transactions, usually no interest on the balance, higher minimum balance requirements, an overdraft facility. Nand quickly asked, What is an overdraft facility? Sampat smiled and explained. An overdraft facility allows you to withdraw more money than you currently have in your account up to a pre-approved limit. For example, if you have $10,000 in your account but need $15,000, the bank allows you to use the extra $5,000 as a short-term loan. Here's how it works. The bank sets a maximum overdraft limit, say $50,000 or more. You pay interest only on the amount you use, not the full limit. You can withdraw, repay, and withdraw again within the limit. This facility is mostly available with current accounts. There are different variants, but they all work on the same basic principle. Fixed Deposit Account, FD. This is a savings instrument where your money is locked for a fixed period, Sampat explained. Offers higher interest than a savings account. Comes with a fixed tenure from 7 days to 10 years. Premature withdrawal, closing before maturity, may incur a penalty. Recurring Deposit Account, RD. This helps you save a fixed amount regularly, he added. Ideal for salaried individuals who want disciplined savings. Interest rates are generally similar to fixed deposits. Salary account. These accounts are opened by employers for employees, Sampat said. Usually zero balance accounts, no minimum balance. Salary is credited directly. Comes with debit card and online banking facilities. Minor account. These are opened for children under 18 to teach them about money, Sampat continued. Operated by a parent or guardian. Can be operated by the minor after turning 18. Comes with transaction limits. Basic Savings Bank Deposit Account, BSBDA. These are simplified savings accounts promoted under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Sampat explained. Zero balance account. Limited free transactions. ATM card available. Sampat paused and added with a smile. There are also special accounts for Indians living abroad, but you don't need to worry about those unless you plan to work overseas. He winked as he said this. Sampat then said, I've asked one of my assistants to prepare a brief summary of everything we discussed. You can collect it while leaving. Nand thanked him and asked, Can I come again next week? I'll be on vacation with my family for a few days. Sampat nodded in agreement. Nand collected the summary from Sampat's assistant and left the branch, feeling more confident about understanding banking.